presentation, we were discussing the subject of the gifts of prophecy, and we've seen that we want to discuss two threads of this. We want to look back in the lines, and we want to also see when these gifts are going to be restored. We looked at the line of Moses, and we went to two Bible passages, Numbers 12:6. Actually, we didn't go to 34:10, did we? No. Let's go to Deuteronomy 34:10. There arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. In all the signs and the wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh, and to all his servants, and to all his land, and in all that mighty hand, and in all the great terror which Moses showed in the sight of all Israel. Then we saw that Moses' name, he's a gathering prophet, and we also saw that his name is to draw out the water, or draw out of Egypt, or to gather God's people out of Egypt. So you can see that in the line of Moses. What about the line of Christ? You see John the Baptist? Christ says to John, there's no greater prophet. Where do we find that verse? Matthew 11. So we've got Matthew 11. Did someone say something different? And Luke 7:28. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there hath not arisen a greater than John the Baptist, notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. But what went you out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet. In Luke 7:28, it says it more explicitly. For I say unto you, among those that are born of women, there is not a greater prophet than John the Baptist. But he that is least in the kingdom of God is greater than he. So it says John is the greatest prophet. Anything else about prophets?
That is true. Christ comes as the greatest prophet.
So we've got Christ, and he's going to fulfill Deuteronomy 18:18. But rather, where do we see that he fulfills Deuteronomy 18:18? I don't mean in the story, but I mean, how can we prove that?
The book of Acts.
Chapter
7.
Chapter 7. We'll go to Acts 7.
Verse 7.
Sorry?
Verse 7.
Acts 7:37. This is that Moses which said unto the children of Israel, A prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren like unto me. Him shall ye hear. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers who received the lively oracles to give unto us. So we're going to make the connection that this is Jesus. This verse. In this chapter, you make the hard connection that this is referring to Jesus. Because 737 is definitely talking about Deuteronomy 18. Sorry? 45? Which also our fathers that came after brought in with Jesus unto the possession of the Gentiles, whom God drave out before the face of our fathers unto the days of David. So, if you've got a marginal reading, I don't think you have a marginal reading in your Bible. You have a marginal reading? Tell me what, even if you don't, it doesn't matter. What's the history here in 45? Which also our fathers, so it's in the past, it's not present, but came after brought in with Jesus into the possession of the Gentiles, whom God drave out before the face of our fathers unto the days of David. What story is that talking about? Entering into Canaan. So that who is that Jesus? It's not Moses. That's Joshua. Joshua and Jesus is the same word. One's Greek, one's Hebrew. So that's Joshua. So I don't think in this passage there's a direct reference that this is Jesus, but what he's doing is what? What is he doing? He's giving history after history, but he's choosing his history carefully, and each one of those examples is pointing to Jesus. So even though this is Joshua, this is pointing to Jesus who's going to bring his people into the promised land. So we could go to another passage which directly tells us that Deuteronomy 18 is referring to Christ. Does anybody else know the other one? Okay? Acts 3. Verse. So the section begins in verse 19, which talks about repenting and the blotting out of sin. Verse 20, and he shall send Jesus Christ, which before was preached unto you, whom the heaven has received, until the times of restitution of all things which God has spoken by the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began. For Moses truly said unto the fathers, a prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren. And it shall come to pass that every soul which will not hear that prophet shall be destroyed. Yea, and all the prophets from Samuel and those that follow afterwards, many as have spoken, have likewise foretold of these days. So you have a direct application here. So these days it's Christ that's being referred to here. So you know that Christ is the prophet that's mentioned in Deuteronomy 18:18 who's going to be raised up. Where would you mark his raising up? If we're going to go for Deuteronomy 18 and then make an application back into this reform line, where would that be? Or BC? Time at the end. So we can mark it time at the end, but when we do Deuteronomy 18:18, we make it 20 years after 1798. We have a waymark that highlights the increase of knowledge. So it would be a waymark in everyone who's done an increase of knowledge that way. So do we know what event that would be? Do you have an event for that? 4 BC is his birth. Do we know when he would be marked as a prophet, that increase of knowledge?
God answer.
Are we okay with that? When he's 12 years old? When he's 12, he understands who he is. He sees the prophecy of the Lamb being fulfilled before his eyes, and he realizes that's him that's being portrayed here. And he's teaching the people.
When did Moses become the prophet of Deuteronomy 18:18?
So when does, that's a good question, we can do that one. When does Moses become the prophet?
The burning bush.
At the burning bush. And what way mark is that, the burning bush? Formalization of the message. So that'd be a little bit further. Do you have any thoughts?
I was just thinking, if Moses is formalization, ours also has to be around that.
Okay, so we would make it when he was told, we'd make it when the formalization of the message is.
Perhaps if you use Moses as a template.
Which would be, when we mark the formalization of the message. Right?
The spring of things. 6 months later, place this, that at the bottom.
Okay, so we'd make it when John begins his ministry. That's where we mark the formalization.
Taking a closer look at it, prophet before burning, because there's a, I don't know where we can put it in the way in the line, but in the time that is the wilderness and he's studying the things of nature and he's having an understanding.
Okay, so we bring it before the burning bush, which is when he's 80. You're saying it's between 40 and 80.
Yeah.
What's he doing when he's in Egypt before he leaves? Before he runs away from Egypt, what's he trying to do? Sorry? Can't hear you. Let's be positive. What's he trying to do? Don't do it in a negative way. Sorry? He's trying to fulfill his mission, which is a prophecy about him. He's trying to fulfill the prophecy. So he's self-identifying as a prophet. You already recognize him as a prophet long before he leaves Egypt. He's just waiting for an opportunity to do that. And the opportunity arises one day when he kills that Egyptian accidentally. So he's already a prophet before then and he knows it.
I'm understanding what he's saying, but I think the Lord begins to speak to him face to face in the burning bush. Though yes, he was a prophet, but the face to face interaction begins.
And where does God begin to talk face to face with Christ? It's not at the formalization, and you might argue that it's at his baptism, where the dove comes down and it's direct communication one-on-one.
So, like, if you're saying that a prophet, so when we speak face to face, do we mean that God is going to speak to Moses face to face or all of his life? Because there's something to understand. That even before the burning bush, I think he's already authoring the book of Moses before that event. Was that communication with God? Inspiration. So he's doing it before the burning bush. So I think it's a prophet before the burning bush.
If we were going to mark, if we would go to Miller history and make 1818, the raising up of Miller, which we know is the increase of knowledge, because we've got that as a hard date, and then we use that to go back into these lines, because that's our template. You'd be, I don't know if force is the right word, but Jesus at age 12 would be the marker I think we could go for, because there aren't that many before that. And if you were going to do that, then if you went back to Moses' line, you could also mark when he was 12, when he goes into Pharaoh's court to begin to evangelize and begin to do the work for them there. He begins to resist, I guess, the Egyptian philosophy and theology, not only for himself, but vicariously through his for the people. He's had all this protection with his own home. He leaves when he's 12 as well. So, okay, so I don't want to make a big issue about that. We've got varying views. Are we okay that we can mark Christ and John in that history? Christ already knows he's a prophet long before his baptism. His parents know that he's a prophet even before he does, before he's conscious of it. When he's 12, he actually realizes for himself who he is. He increases the knowledge he's a prophet. That's right.
And then that sort of stuff about doing his father's business. So he's gone out from being under Mary in that sense, and Moses, he's gone out from being under his mother to now having to rely totally on God as Pharaoh. And Jesus marks that as doing his father's business when he talks to Mary.
See, I like that. That's a nice connection. So when he's 12, his parents say, "Who are you? What will you be doing?" He says, "I've been doing my father's business." And from that time, even though he's subject to parental authority, this is where he begins to basically take management of his own destiny, of his own welfare. And you see the same in Moses' life. His mother's taking care of him. When he's 12, he has to basically fend for himself. When Jesus is 12, his parents don't even fully understand who and what he is. We don't know when his father dies. At least I don't know. I don't know if he's alive when he's 12. Somewhere between 12 and 13, those next 18 years, he dies somewhere. Ellen White alludes to the fact that he'd been long dead. But Rob, okay, so we've got two testimonies. So we're pretty sure that this principle is correct. That you see prophets raised up to do a special work in a reform line. What about Moses? Sorry, Miller. Okay.
So when Moses is writing the book of Genesis and is interacting with nature, is he taking a direct vision for him to get the content for the book of Genesis, or are these stories in the book of Genesis something which has been handed over from generation to generation? Because I don't know, but it's there in my mind, I don't know where I got it, but I think he had received this instruction had been received from generation to generation. And these stories have been narrated, and what Moses does is that in his time in the wilderness, he puts the material together. So I just want to know, did he really go into like a vision and receive the instruction to write the book of Genesis and Job, or is it something that has been added on? Because I'm tending to see a distinction between this face-to-face interaction and a point at which someone is increasing in knowledge. I don't know why in my mind it's a bit distinct.
So is he just a historian, or is this direct revelation?
But my question to that would be, 2 Timothy 3:16 says, they were all inspired by the Holy Spirit. What does that mean?
No, I don't think that is the argument. At least I'm not saying he was not inspired. My issue is Moses receiving, is he recording something which is historical? Is he receiving a vision direct from God? I don't think the problem is about inspiration. I just want to understand what this face to face is.
Okay, so one thing, when you read, I think it's education page 46, she's going to give two classes of reference. She's saying, I think basically just reading something there. He's saying that a prophet in his strictest sense was one who was inspired by the Holy Spirit to write. So I think Moses is qualified to be a prophet in that sense. He's a prophet in his strictest sense because he's inspired before the burning bush. Comes to that description of a prophet from Education page 46.
Sister?
It says that under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, he wrote the book of Genesis and the book of Job. I don't know if that helps answer this question. So, the long years of the desert solitudes were not lost. Not only was Moses gaining preparation for the great work before him, but during this time, under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, he wrote the book of Genesis and also the book of Job, which would be read with the deepest interest by the time of the close of time.
But I'm going to take his position. You could, just because it's under the direction of the Holy Spirit doesn't mean it's direct revelation. That he hasn't heard of Job. Job is contemporary with Moses, thereabouts. They're living in around the same kind of time. Job might have just died when Moses comes onto the scene. But he would have known about this famous rich man. So it's not something that no one's ever heard of, and he's just writing his story down that God sort of whispered in his ear. It's a story that everyone knows. So just because it says inspiration, it doesn't necessarily mean it's direct divine revelation, which is, I think, the point that Robert's making.
And for example, when it comes to the Gospels, these people are recording history, and I think how the Spirit is directing them is to pick up on which history is important to be recorded in the Bible and which one is not. I don't know whether they did, like, one of the Gospels is going to tell us that Christ did many things, but not all of them were recorded. So I agree with the fact that they were inspired, and the inspiration was the Lord was directing them on what to pick and put in the Bible. But I still don't see that as a direct revelation and direct communication with God through vision.
Okay, so
It's a good CSS, there's a point Möglichkeit.
Which one is that?
what's the quote that you gave us?
Oh, that's 3 Bible copy, 3 BC, 1140.3.
4 BC, 1140.3.
1140.3, but I'm still my original sentence.
3 BC or 4
3
BC?
BC, 1140.3.
So there's a point that Sister West says, that's in the first line, if I got it right. While he was studying all this history, and understanding all this history, the one that is speaking about, he was also understanding his mission, the one that he was doing. Unless I didn't get that.
I think the distinction that all he's trying to point out is that there wasn't this direct communication, whether it's visible with your eyes or audible with your ears, before that. I think that's the point he's making. And if we were to go to the line of Christ, I don't think we have any evidence that Jesus has direct communication with God until he gets baptized. It's only then, the first time he actually hears a voice. People say it's thunder, but he hears this voice. In the wilderness, you don't see God. And it's only at certain discrete times after that that he has one-on-one revelation with God. It's normally through prayer or meditation that he knows who he is. And it's almost always through the scriptures. If we go to Moses, everyone knows who he is. He knows who he is. He recognizes he's a prophet. But when he meets God at the burning bush, he doesn't seem to know who he is. He says, "Who are you?" And he has to tell him who he is. He's the God of his fathers. He's the great I am. So I think that's the distinction that he wants to make. Sister Aaron?
Actually, the background of the paragraph is Signs of the Times, and it says that, I think you could relate it to Miller in 1818 probably, because it says angels bent over Moses to answer his prayers. Because he's praying about deliverance, so he understands who he is and who he is. It says for someone of less faith that would have given up, and he had faith to keep on being to God had forgotten in that 40 years. And it says those prayers were heard, could his eyes have been opened to have seen the messengers of God, pure holy angels bending lovingly over him, shedding their light around him and preparing to bear his petition to the throne of the highest. The long years spent amid desert solitudes were not lost, which goes on to say how he wrote the book. So I think you probably can find that with angels going in his mind. Is that what you mean?
Well, I think it's Mark 8 from that. Oh, you could do it. Yeah, I suspect, yes.
Can I argue that God knows his from the conception?
I hear you at the back.
I'm saying, can I argue that for a person to be a prophet, God is raising to lead his people from the time that they conceived in the womb. God knows that's there is a time that God has sent you to play that responsibility. For example, Jeremiah and also Cyrus. So God says right before they are being born, that this so can I that is
So I think you'll agree that these men were prophets from the very beginning. I think the only distinction that from Robert's making is, when did they get raised up with this gift of prophecy? And he's associating that with this rare vision, this face-to-face appearance vision that he's having, that they're communicating with God, that this kind of direct communication. And it's not in the earlier time, certainly of Moses and certainly of Christ. They don't have that. Moses hasn't had direct communication with God when he's 12 years old. Otherwise, God would have told him what to do, but he doesn't. He's kind of left to his own devices. Somebody have their hand up.
I just want to make an argument and see that all the prophets that we see, they always have the character, they always were identified as prophets. But there is a time that publicly they will be recognized as prophets. Because one rule I know about prophets is that their names point to the ministry that the one they are going to do. And then they give an example like with Moses. Moses is born as Moses' name, we found what it means in his ministry. But when does he start doing that work? I think from the time that he's given that work by Christ, that go to Egypt and do that work. For John, I would also argue, John names means that Yahweh has mercy. And how do we see the mercies of God? It is when he baptized as Christ at 27 AD. That's when what he has been saying is empowered that truly this is a God's prophet. I go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah God knew him before he was born. But Jeremiah's name that Yahweh strikes. What is Jeremiah raised to do? He is to proclaim a judgment upon Judah that you are going to captivity. Jeremiah had been a prophet, but until God gives him that work to go and proclaim that message, he's publicly recognized as a prophet.
And if you go to Jeremiah chapter 1, we know he begins his ministry in the time period of Josiah, but we don't see him doing much until he gets to Jehoiakim. So when you get to Jehoiakim, then you begin to see him. That's essentially where you see the book of Jeremiah. So he's been a prophet for a long time. He said God selected him from his birth, but he's a young person when he begins in Josiah's line. But it's only he really begins to do his ministry properly at the very, I won't say at the very end, but in Jehoiakim. Miller.
So I've never understand here. These are most of the things that we get from historian, the story of Genesis. You can understand the story of Job. Maybe there are some stories that are talking about Job, like Job. What about Genesis?
I don't know. I don't have any direct evidence, but I wouldn't have any objection with the suggestion that's been given that it was an oral tradition that everybody knew the story of Genesis and how man was created, and what that story was about Adam and Eve. They all knew about that. It's not that many generations from Noah to Moses, and is Noah alive at the same time as Adam is? You know, I think he is. I think there's some kind of overlap. Certainly, Adam's son, or I think his son Seth, I'm pretty sure there's a reasonable overlap that he would have had first-hand information. Then from Noah to Moses, it's only about 2 generations of overlap. So it's not that difficult to transmit that information. The angels guiding and directing. There's some things you don't know. There's a way of expressing things which is above and beyond the historical events. That's where they would come into it. It sounds reasonable to me that when she puts Genesis and Job together, that Job is a historical figure. He's the richest man in the East. Everybody would have heard of him. If you're living in that locality, you might not know all the details, but this man gets everything that he owns gets destroyed miraculously. That would have been a pretty famous story. The details of it, maybe people don't know the inside story. The secret camera, what was going on. That's what angels would have revealed to him, the things that no one could have known secretly. Like the conversation that he's having with God. How would anybody know that? Maybe not even speaking, maybe he's thinking. Those kind of things angels would have revealed to him. But the story itself, I think, is a historical story. All the dates and the ages of all of those men, that's all just chronology, historical history, I would think. Miller? And someone else wants to make a comment?
Just one line from that same passage, it says while he was in the wilderness, it says he recounted all God's dealings with the faithful in ages past and his promises of future good. His soul went out toward God on behalf of his brethren in bondage, so he was recounting all those things. That's Signs of the Times, the same place as the other one. Signs of the Times, February 19th, 1880. 18.
That's paragraph 13, same passage. What about Miller? Where do we see to be the prophet? Because the obvious one is 1818.
But I don't think the 1818 is the gift of prophecy.
Okay, so other events that are going on to help us to see that.
The gift of prophecy. I'll go with William.
Sorry?
For the gift of prophecy, I'll go with William.
Oh, you don't even want to go with Miller, you want to go with Foy. So you want to go to 1842 and you want to go with William Foy.
Or Hazen-Foss, I don't know the order, but
Sorry?
William Foy and Hazen-Foss, but I don't know the order.
Hazen-Foss, I think, is in 1844.
Okay. So we'll go with Foy.
So I think the lines that we have laid from Moses, Christ, and now we have Miller, we were identifying the prophets in those lists, but we don't come to the details of identifying what kind of prophet he was, because we have to go back to the history of Christ and see what kind of prophet is John, what kind of prophet is Christ, because we are not yet agreed on that.
When you say what kind, do you mean like face to face?
What she sees in Education 10:26.
Or whether it's a special inspiration? No, read it how it says it.
It says, Education 46.
Which paragraph will we go to?
Paragraph
To meet this growing evil, God provided other agencies as a aid to parents in the work of education. From the earliest time, prophets have been recognized as teachers divinely appointed. In the highest sense, the prophet was one who spoke by direct inspiration, communicating to the people the messages he would receive from God. But the name was given also to those who, though not so directly inspired, were divinely called to instruct the people in the works and ways of God. The training of such a class of teachers, sounded by the Lord's direction, established the school of the prophet. So, two types of prophet. In the highest sense, the prophet was one who spoke by direct inspiration, but it's also those who are divinely called to instruct the people or just to teach them. So you've got divinely appointed teachers and people who tell you directly what God said.
So, you read this sentence, the question is, the highest sense of prophet was one who spoke by direct inspiration. Does direct inspiration equal direct communion with God?
What does direct communion look like?
Because that's what we suggested, you and Rob. Direct communion with God. Is direct inspiration equal direct communion with God? I don't know what you mean by that, by direct communion, face-to-face communion.
Well, I don't want to get to a line with Robert on this side. All I was doing was marking the fact that he was making a distinction that when Jesus gets baptized, I think it's the first time he ever hears the voice of God, like audible. When he sees the burning bush, it's the first time he's ever seen a visible, physical manifestation of God. Before that, he could have had impressions, angels are directing him, he has an awareness could have read about something, he could self-identify. So I was just, all I understood that he was saying was there was this distinction when you take the same person in these two parts of their ministry. And I think that's correct. I'm not trying to suggest, I wasn't trying to suggest anything more than that. And I'm not sure if he was trying to suggest anything more than that, except to identify that when Moses is 12, God, he didn't have a vision that said anything. He didn't have any direct communication. There is an awareness. I don't know how that happened. Maybe angels inspire you to think that. Maybe you have this feeling, whatever it is. But there's no record of him having any direct communication or direct inspiration. Okay, but direct communication, go with that. Direct inspiration mean? You.
So, if I'm understanding where in that paragraph, it says, in the highest sense, the prophet was one who spoke by direct inspiration, communicating to the people the message they had received from God. So, according to me at least, how I understand it is that the prophet who receives direct information, direct inspiration, is the one who receives a direct message from God, and then he communicates this to people. He has that direct communication, one-on-one communication with God.
Go to Moses, tell me when that happens. First time.
The first time, if I go to Moses, that happens is at the burning bush, when he's having the direct conversation with God.
Okay, so at the burning bush, God says, I'm the God of your fathers.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that you do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And then I want you to go to the people to do that. Now, you know that that's the formalization of the message.
Yes.
The formalization of the message means the message
Had come on.
had already come. When he kills the Egyptian, people say, what are you doing? And what did he say?
He was trying, you see, Moses understands that he's supposed to be a believer.
How did he understand that? Not only does he understand, he tells the people, I thought you all knew what I'm supposed to be doing. It's not just my idea. You knew who I am. Everyone knows who he is. So I'm going to say this. He says, communicating to people the messages he had received from God. What message is he giving to that Jew?
He's giving a message.
Yeah, what message is he saying?
Suddenly from God.
Sorry?
He's giving a message.
He says, I'm the Messiah. You already know that. Why are you arguing with me for? And the Jew says, you're not my Messiah. I don't accept you as my Messiah. But he says, where did he get the idea that he was the Messiah?
So I think what happens is that the instance or the moment we see this direct conversation with Moses is that the formalization, as the way Mark itself suggests that the message now is formalized. As in, we can now see Moses as a prophet. But maybe in a way God had, I'm not sure about that, but maybe in a way God had communicated, because for you to understand this story that is supposed to be the deliverer, therefore he must have a knowledge of this message already. Okay. So I think at the burning bush, the message is only being made formal.
Okay, so question for Brother Robert. This is the question that Brother Rogers asked. In 1831, what's Miller doing? That's his question. Why is he going public in 31?
Why?
What's he saying in 1818?
He has left the Bible in his country.
He's come to the conclusion that what?
25 years.
In 25 years, which is a binding of, so the message is finished here. Why does he wait until 1831 to begin to preach?
You don't know.
You don't know? My brother, why did he wait till 1831?
Yeah, because he never received a very deep conviction, but by the time he received a very deep conviction,
It's not true.
No, he's sure. He says in 25 years, I'm sure that God is coming back. So why does he wait? I don't know what 18 to 20, 31 is. Is it 13 years? Why does he wait 13 years? I don't know what that prophetic number means. It's something. He waits for 31. What's he waiting for? What happens in 31?
God speaks to him.
And what does he say?
Yes, I was signing from God.
And what does God say to him? No, before that, what does God say to him? So, is that direct communication?
Yeah.
So, you could mark it at the formalization. So, if we could do that, then Miller becomes the prophet in its highest sense when God directly tells him. And he, like Moses, asks for a sign, and so he gets the sign. Moses doesn't like the sign of the leprous hand, that's not the one he was looking for. Just like Miller doesn't like the sign he's given. So we mark it back here in the formalization, which someone else was saying, Brother William was saying, at the formalization, something special happens with Moses. With Christ, what happens with Christ? What happens in the spring of 27? John begins his ministry. Is that the same way mark? If we're going to mark 31 to 33 is one way mark. We've got 31, the burning bush, then the spring of 27. John begins his ministry, and what does Jesus do? Sorry? He hears the call. I don't know if we can find that quote, probably in Desire of Ages. He hears the call, and like the rest of the people in Israel, he knows that this is the call for what? He knows it's something different to other people. He recognises the call that he needs to stop doing what he's doing, which is this 18 years of carpentry work, and now he's entering into a new phase of the ministry. So he sees that as the call. I'm never going to say direct from God, but he hears the call when he knows that John begins to. I don't know why he waits 6 months, because it does take 6 months to get from Galilee to where Barrow, what that place is, where they're baptizing. But sometime in that history, he's going to pack up his tools and he's going to go. But here's the call there. You have it, some of the people. Before you ask the question, just want to make sure everybody's familiar with William Foy. We know he has a direct revelation from God. We have Hazen Foss, who basically messes this up. But we know that in 31, which is the formalization of the message, which lines up with the burning bush, that Miller hears the voice of God. They have directly, we're going to do that. Is there a question or?
I was going to say, I was going to say 33, because it may be that it's when God chooses to manifest his endorsement of the message. So he manifests divine, supernatural divine sign, or whatever, manifests himself to endorse the message.
And that divine thing is what?
So that was the falling of the stars of the so it's before I was thinking that I was just like falling of the stars in the burning bush, because of God coming to the baptism of the because those are all direct, supernatural public displays of endorsement that this is the person.
Hold that thought, remember the thought.
Depending on the board, I personally read the board which we just read in Education 46, and then this argument, where is it? The question is, what's the difference between Ezra is the prophet, right? And now we're saying, Miller is the prophet. So what's the difference between the two? If we relate to that board.
No, you can't ask rhetorical questions. You tell us what the answer is. You don't know the answer? I already gave the dynamics of the past. No rhetorical questions. You don't ask me a question. You don't ask someone else a question. You just tell us what you understand. Because if we don't do that, in a class this size, it becomes unmanageable. It really does. So I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, but the rules work better that way if you just make your statement. You can ask a rhetorical question and answer it, I don't mind, but I won't answer questions except in very rare circumstances, and this is a proper question. But we don't ask questions to one another. We just try to stick to some basic rules. Do you want to make a comment on what the difference between Ellen White and Bill is? Okay. Brother Kev, who put your hands up? Who's so? I've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've got 4 people, and Sister Emma.
I just wanted to point out the definition of a prophet. Maybe it can also help us. It means to speak by inspiration, prediction, or simple discourse.
Inspiration, simple discourse,
Or prediction.
or making a prediction. My brother, then William, and then Brother Robert.
Just wanted to make my point that I understand there are 2 types of prophets. One is a proclaiming prophet who is sent by God to proclaim a certain message, like a judgment. And the other one is a gathering prophet. And an example, Jeremiah is a proclaiming prophet. He's proclaiming judgment upon the kingdom of Judah. But we saw Moses is a gathering prophet. He's going to deliver. So, the only prophet I know that has 2 characteristics is Daniel. Daniel is a proclaiming prophet and is a gathering prophet. But you always see that most of them are gathering prophets. But when you see a prophet proclaiming judgment, he's a proclaiming prophet. But the one who is blowing people out of apostasy is a gathering prophet.
And is Moses not making judgment upon Egypt?
But the main reason why Moses is doing this to gather.
Okay, I don't mind that, but it's a made-up concept, gathering and proclaiming prophets, that we made up in this movement. Unless it's something, I don't think it's an inspired statement. Not objecting to it, but I think you could. I mean, the greatest judgment that we know of is Passover, or if you want to go to the Red Sea crossing, where we wipe out a nation basically. If we were going to say that, what judgment is Daniel bringing? He's not even bringing any judgment. All he does is talks about Daniel 8:14. When you say he's a proclaiming prophet, is that what you mean, that he proclaims? So he doesn't even do anything judgment-wise to me in real life. So I get the logic of it when we do gathering and proclaiming prophets, but I think it's just a version of history that we want to weave through because we want to create a storyline. So I'm not trying to undo that, but I don't think this is hard and fast. And certainly the one from Inspiration, that's not how she's defining prophets. And we've read from Education, I think it's chapter 19 from Great Controversy. She does the same thing with 2 classes of prophecy, and she develops that logic. I didn't want to go down and read the Great Controversy statement. I don't want to go too much into this subject in a great amount of depth. So if I just summarise what I'm hearing that proper, real prophet, face-to-face, the rare type of a prophet, is like foil, direct dream or direct vision. You're looking at him and you know they're in a vision. And most of these people experience that sometime in their life. Another way to think about prophet, there were prophets before, but they didn't have that experience. Another way to think of prophet is according to this definition, in the highest sense, is that they have direct inspiration and they communicate that message to the people. And when you start using that definition as written, you can then go to Moses and pick him up a lot earlier. You can pick up Christ a lot earlier. The story of Christ is about the kingdom. Which kingdom? Kingdom of grace. When does he first start talking about the kingdom of grace? When he's 12 years old. He goes to Jerusalem and starts talking about the kingdom of grace. And if they had listened to him when he began his ministry at 30, the nation would have been ripe to be harvested and everything would have been good. So this definition here is a lot more generous, a lot more forgiving. You can go right back early to be able to identify when a person becomes a prophet in the highest sense, which kind of, I guess, seems in contradiction or in opposition to what Brother Robert is suggesting when he's picking up this concept of the Murray type of a prophet. And we've read that in Numbers 12:6.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, what is the difference you're making between 1818 when Miller becomes a prophet and 1842? What is the difference between Miller and Miller before?
You don't know what the difference is?
Yeah. No, William Foy, because you said William Foy in 1842 he has this direct revelation from God. St. Miller has a direct revelation from God.
Certainly not in the same way. I don't think you can go back into any part of Miller's life. He says, God spoke to me and told me this thing, and I'm going to relay it. Yeah, Ellen White over and over again says, I went into vision, God or the angel told me this thing, and I'm just relaying it to you. I'm just a conduit. I don't think Miller ever testifies about his life in that way.
What exactly happens to Miller in his two dreams?
So he just says, I had a dream. We're the people who make some kind of big story about it. He just says, I had a dream. You have dreams, I have dreams. Everyone has a dream. He doesn't say, my dream meant this, or let me tell you my dream because it's so important. It has a bearing on things. He didn't say God gave him the dream. We do all of that, and we base it upon the fact that Ellen White puts his dream into a book. So we give it an authority based upon Ellen White's connection to it or understanding of it. He never makes that kind of testament. He just says, I'm a nobody. But your question is the same question that Brother Rogers is asking, what's the difference? And you're alluding to the fact that there isn't any difference. Miller, when he does his work, he's being inspired by angels, comes up with the right answer, he gives the message, the first angel, and Foy does a similar thing, but he has a different experience. He has a kind of a supernatural experience. He collapses and does all those strange things. So there is that difference. But I guess you're saying the end result, what's the difference? Is that what you said?
That is what I was initially saying.
Yeah. And afterwards? You changed your mind or you kept your...
No, afterward I'm rethinking.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking otherwise.
Thinking otherwise?
So, there's a definition that is coming from the Book of Education 56. I don't really think that, personally, the distinction that I'm seeing, I don't think that quotation is in any way solving my dilemma. I'm getting the kind of two prophets that Education 46 gives us, but I'm still seeing a distinction between what we're talking about in terms of William Miller and Foy. For example, in 1833 we are saying that Miller had a voice and it was like driving him and telling him, go and tell it to the world. I'm not sure that that is the sort of face-to-face communication that William Foy has. Because the way I look at it, William Miller has this deep conviction. Of course, the Lord is working upon his mind. Like, I think every one of us, there are times when you feel the deep conviction of God and you can hear his voice speaking to you. So I think that is what is happening to him. He's certainly not getting any message directly from God. He has just been studying his Bible. Angels have been guiding him. He has come to some conclusions, but he did not get his message directly from God as William Foy did. So I'm still seeing some distinctions between William Miller and William Foy. I'm still seeing the distinction.
Okay, so let's go back to Christ. Christ is one man that's going to span his whole history. And in the earlier part, he just has an awareness. His mother told him, he has a feeling, angels may speak to him, he reads about himself. But at some time, in the second part, now not only he hears, everyone can hear it. There's a physical manifestation that God communicates with him in a way that he hasn't done before. But it's one man. He was a true prophet in his highest sense before, and he is in the second half, but now he has this direct communication. We go with Moses. Prophet of the highest sense from the very beginning. He's one man all the way through, but at the burning bush he has a direct manifestation. So those two are okay. We go to Miller. We can mark he's a prophet at least from 1818 and at least from 31 because God speaks to him. So we can see he's a prophet at the beginning. We'd say by inference he's a prophet all the way through. But in Miller's line, you're saying that there's two men in this example, Foy and Miller. And instead of trying to change this definition, not from one from education, but the definition that you're made up, I'll put it that way, instead of trying to force this to work, here it's just two men. In the other ones it's one man, and now it's two men. And that's not a problem. So, if we were to do that, by the time you get to 42, if we went back to 40, from 40 to 44, what is Miller's role? What's he doing? What great work is Miller doing from 40 to 44?
It's proclaiming the message.
So is he and she and he and she? There's 300 of them. 299 plus him. He's not doing anything unique. What else is he doing that's special? He's not producing the chart. He's dragging his feet. He's sending people in wrong directions, like saying it's 1843. He gives some clues in 43, saying, I think it's going to be in October, or it's not October, he just changes the date to spring. So what's all this great prophet work that he's doing from 40 onwards? By the time you get to 44, what's he doing? He's rejecting. If you reject, that means you're definitely not a prophet. I think you could argue that he's a prophet in this beginning bit. In the second bit, he's not fulfilling the role of a prophet. In fact, he fights against the prophet. If you wanted to make Snow the prophet in the same league as Miller, if we could do that, I'm not saying we can, I'm not saying Snow is the prophet in the highest sense, but if we were, he's fighting against the prophet. So maybe you can argue that you have Miller here, which represents Christ most in his early phases, but then you have Foy.
And then again, when we talk about this direct communication with God, for example, I don't think God communicates through dreams to some of his prophets, but I don't think it's every communication through a dream that for me qualifies someone to be a prophet. For example, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream, it doesn't make him a prophet. William Miller has a dream, but still it doesn't, to me, it doesn't still fit to that definition of a prophet. So the question that we're asking between 1840 to 1844, which role is William Miller playing? I'm not really seeing him play any role of a prophet. To my understanding, he's just like the other 300, 299, 300, just like me and you, what trying to grab with this.
So I can't remember who it was over here. Someone said about this person, and Cyrus. Someone said Cyrus, you don't agree Cyrus was a prophet.
Of course, I can say God is communicating, but I don't agree he's a prophet. I don't
Okay,
agree.
yeah, just making sure. Brothers, the comment? Sister Emma?
It seems there's some pattern that we've got rid of, and then Moses takes over. And then you've got the prophets in the sense that we're looking at, but then you've got Forward, and now White takes over. So there seems to be something there that there's this shift from one person to another. So there's two people seen in that history. But I'm seeing something in the other lines that it seems with Miller and Jesus, I'm trying to see with Moses, I think slightly different with Moses, but Miller is called in case one. Like he hears the call of God, and then get supernatural endorsement in 33. You could say with the stars falling from down, the dynamics are a bit different. Jesus hears the call, it says, and knows the time is fulfilled, and he hears about John the Baptist. So he hears the call, and he gets divine supernatural endorsement. It seems with Moses, it looks a bit different. He sees the bush, and it seems Martin gets the call at the bush as well. So you've got supernatural endorsement and the call of Moses. Then you've got the circumcision, so you've got another supernatural endorsement. So it seems to be two supernatural endorsements with Moses, showing two things in some way. And I can't put it together, but there's some pattern there with the call and the endorsement seems to me.
So all I want to do, go back to Sister Emma, is because she's marking these two things. I think you can mark them in all of those three histories. So in Jesus, you've got the spring of 27 and the autumn of 27. Then in the line of Miller, you've got 31 and 33. And in the line of Moses, you've got the burning bush, and you've got the descent of Christ when the angel comes down to try and kill his son.
Which is the link, the formalization with the first empowerment. It just seems to be crossing those two things.
So, Christ line, you've got the formalization and empowerment, that's the same. Moses is the same. And Miller, where's the formalization? That one's different.
So Christ is different to formalization. Oh, actually,
No, Christ is the same. Spring and autumn is formalization and empowerment. Because you'd have to do 31 or 33 and 40 to make it equivalent. You want to do that.
James White will say that the reason why God raised men is because of history. That is from this one.
Sorry, the reason why God raised Miller was because
Of history, for him to understand history so that he can come to calculate the prophetic and put into the prophetic writings, book, Sketches and Life of William Miller, page 6.2.
okay, so what are you saying by that? What's
So-
the point you're making?
So what I want to say is that God raised Miller before to give him, first he has to understand the histories of life before, so that when he comes to give the prophetic exposition and directing God people to the second coming, he is well versed with the histories, and that is what James White is writing about.
I know, I understand that you just repeated yourself. What's the point you're making?
So what I'm saying is that Miller, before 1818, this God is directing him.
Well, we know because he's a prophet, but I want to know what the point you're making. I don't still get. Okay.
I just want to ask, when we are looking at a prophet, are we looking at the personality or we look at the work and the ministry? Because we're trying to define when the gift of prophecy is going to be restored. And I don't think we should look at William Miller as a person. We need to look at William Miller in terms of the work and the ministry that he did. And we can see in that sense, if you look at the work that he did, in Deuteronomy 18:18, he's raised us as a prophet, and he's beginning to do a work. That's the point, that the gift of prophecy that is going to be restored, and afterwards, other people are also going to share in that gift. And when you look at even Samuel Snow, the work that Samuel Snow does, the principles of interpretation, the principles that he uses to get to put up his message, he gets them from healing. So I am arguing that we need to focus not in the person, like when you're looking at, for example, Miller, but we look at the work, the ministry that he did, and in that sense, Miller is the prophet that is risen.
I think everybody agrees that he's the prophet that's raised up here, and at the back end, I don't think Snow was the one that was actually named. That's why someone suggested Foy, because Foy has a different experience than Miller did. He's a different kind of a prophet, not in the sense of Education 46, but in the sense that he has a direct vision from God in a way that Miller never had, which is the point that I think my brother wants to bring up here at the front, where he says he was basically a book person, studying books, collating information, getting the best sources so that he could begin to do this work.
But now in that sense, they share in the gift. You know, if they're seeing the direct, they share in the gift that have already been restored to brother.
Who shares in the gift?
William Foy and
Well, I'm not sure how much William Foy even knows about what's going on. God just tells him something. I don't think he even understands what he's even saying. If you go and read his visions, there's 2 visions, I'm not sure if we even understand what he's saying. He just says, this is what I saw, and that's what I want to do. It's slightly different to the way Miller's operating. Miller's operating, explaining and detailing stuff, as you and I do. I don't know if you remember, when we read Loughborough's book, and we saw Bates doing Ellen White's vision, do you not notice how difficult it is to read what she's even saying? She just says, like, not even sentences. She says this and then this, and you think, actually, this is really badly put together. It takes a lot of effort to get that into a statement that actually flows and makes sense. Marie?
I think what we can see was the question that we have the gift of prophecy in our language. And I'm wondering, I saw we are moving away, but I don't read familiar. Why is it becomes so complex?
Why does it come so complex for Miller? Because you don't believe in the prophet.
Just for his point, I think there's a clear difference between Miller and Foy. For example, let's replace Foy with Ellen White, because it's Ellen White takes over what Foy is supposed to be doing. I think, I don't have the words to explain, but you can see that William Miller and Ellen White are totally different. So probably if we can fit in Ellen White there, probably it can make the distinction quite clear between Miller and White, because I think Foy and White are playing the same.
I'm hoping most of us can see the difference. I don't, when you make this distinction, I don't see it like we're taking Miller and trashing him or making him lower than he really is. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to understand what I'm hearing from you. That there comes a point in a person's ministry that it changes. And now you have this direct communication with God. And in this history, it doesn't seem to be that it's Miller that gets that. And I don't know why. I'm not trying to make any assertion why that happened. All I'm saying is, at the latter end of his life, last 4 years, he doesn't contribute that much. It's Boyd that begins to do that work, and I'm not trying to bring Snow into that story. Mr. Robert. You can hand up, Mark.
It seems that the people that have light there were Miller, decided, and Hansen to increase light in the message, which are all on the level of sex with Miller, but it seems to be that divine intervention. Then you get Boyd and Foster, fails, then you get other one. So you seem to get this transition in the way that God was the right line. We're going to take beyond 44.
What I want to do is take up Brother Kevis's point. Let's not look at the person, because you can see Miller to Litch to Snow. If you just took them as one person, it's just this ministry that's flowed all the way through, using just Bible study techniques. At a certain point in that line, you get a special manifestation of the Holy Spirit or the power of God, which is in Foy, that comes at a certain point in that history.
So I'm seeing two things, that is this progression from the way God operates with them, so it's from there to that, towards supernatural leather, but it's also the fact that he uses lots of people, so it's not about one man, it's about the message that goes to account because that message is key.
Yeah, so I was trying to make that point about the individuals themselves. Okay, so I think our time's sort of virtually out. I'm about done on this one here. Gift of prophecy in the lines. We've seen two things. The beginning part of the ministry, you can see the prophet runs all the way through that history. That's the first point we picked up. At the beginning, they don't have this special rare experience where they see the appearance of God or hear. If you see, you hear, it's the same thing. That comes on in the second part of that of a reform line. It tends to be that way. All three stories are the same. It's not an indication of a low quality or a better quality prophet. So I'm not sure if Education 46 is being applied at this level. Sometimes it's an individual person, sometimes it can be multiple people. We have the issue about John and Jesus in Jesus' line, we know that. So that seems to be what we've concluded, that there certainly is the gift of prophecy. It's from the very beginning, but it receives some kind of different manifestation. It looks different when you come to the second part of that reform line.
There's something you said that you had two visions. There's something I want to comment on what you think two visions, but in fact, when you see in Gospel of Jesus, volume 17, verse chapter 95, page 95, verse 12, why say that he had four visions?
Oh, she says he has four visions.
Say that. Then another time there was Paul that had visions. He had four visions. They were written out and published, and it's clear that I cannot find them in the Bible, but it was more. So many times he had four.
So 17
MR 95
and boy. Okay, I guess the reason I took two is because if you go to the pioneer writings, there's only two that are documented.
And then what I can say, I think from what papers say that, let's look at Miller. Miller has a ministry. Though he's a person who was raised in that ministry. The other prophets who come after him, they're just to back up on what Miller is proclaiming and instructing.
Okay, but I don't know what you mean by that, because you said that let's not look at the personality, but that's what you're doing. You're saying these people back up this personality.
The message is preaching.
Because you're not happy just to dump Miller. You want to keep him as a personality. I'm saying let's dump him. Let's just say he got the message, and the message went on to Lich, and then the message went on to someone else. So it seems to be that you folks are the ones who are keeping the personality. I'm saying Miller is just Miller. It's just at the beginning someone else takes over. I agree with that. The gift of prophecy runs all the way through to different people, because they all have a special message from God. Because if you're going to do that, Lich becomes just as much a prophet as Miller. He didn't get his message from Miller, he got it from God. Might have borrowed some information from Miller. Doesn't make him any less of a prophet. Are we allowed to drink coffee? Are we allowed to drink coffee? Who said? Why did she say that? Sorry? She's given a vision. So God said you're not allowed to drink coffee because no one in the world knows you could have that coffee's bad for you. Is that right? She didn't read it out of the health book. You sure? I'm not convinced about that. I'm convinced most of her health messages she takes from health books, packages them up in a nice book and gets a divine stamp on them, but they're not direct revelation, I don't think. I don't think that makes her less of a prophet, because she borrows information from everyone. You can go to a lot of her work to people to call that paganism. outside of the scope of health, even in some divine issues.
I wanted to insert another line, the line of Ezra. So like I can see Ezra playing the same role that William Miller is playing. He's like this reformer who has been reading the word of God and has been authorized to do this great work of reforming the people. But at the end of the work of that reformment, the Lord is going to raise up Zechariah and Haggai. And these people have the gift of prophecy, at least the way I understand it, which Ezra did not have. So I'm saying like Ezra is this book guy, he's a prophet. He's a prophet according to the lines, but books is the guy of the books. But when it comes to Zechariah and Haggai, it's, the gift of prophecy is a bit different from that which Ezra has. So you can also see at the latter end of that reform, like the gift of prophecy restored and God raises up something.
Yeah, I kind of have the same idea with his brother. And me, I was contrasting Mina with Samuel. I mean, Prophet Samuel. Because in the education, the book that we have just been reading, paragraph 2, Ellen White talks of Samuel gathering the young youth and then to teach them, and afterward they became the prophets. And I was contrasting this with William Miller in the sense that William Miller also gathered people. And these are now the likes of people we are now calling Ellen White, before and the rest of them. So that's really what I was seeing, because if you read in the second paragraph, that's after I was passing through, that's what came into my mind.
Okay. So, have you finished what you want to say about Ezra? Okay, so we've created another line of Ezra, and then tomorrow we're going to look at when we're going to restore this gift. I've run out of time because the camera goes. Heavenly Father, we want to give you praise and thanks. We ask, Lord, not only that we would have a clearer understanding individually, but that we could come from these studies with a unified single voice, that we might all be teaching the same truth, even though our styles may be slightly different, but people will know that you have been with us. And the evidence of that would be that we are walking and speaking in unity one with another. Please be with us and please bless us through this day. We ask in Jesus' name.